Occupational Therapy Association highlights the connection between evidence-informed services and best practice approaches in their standards of practice, with evidence that is high quality, takes patient considerations into account, and is current and/or foundational to the field. But how do you actually find that evidence? Let's explore that in this video. One great way to find evidence for best practices is to use an occupational therapy journal. These journals focus specifically on research that is relevant to OTs, obviously, and publish systematic reviews and practice guidelines that synthesize the available evidence and make recommendations for evidence-informed services. You can start by clicking on one of the OT journals linked on the OT Research Guide, or click Find More OT Journals to search for others. I will start by clicking on the link for the American Journal of Occupational Therapy, which is issued by the American Occupational Therapy Association, so it's a good one to start with. I recommend searching in the Search Inside search box with simple keywords related to a specific condition, disease, treatment, or intervention. For example, I might start by searching Parkinson's disease and see what results come up. You can scroll through the articles and view the titles to begin looking at the articles. Keep an eye out for practice guidelines and systematic or scoping reviews. These types of articles have a high level of evidence and are often the bedrock for best practice development. Not all searches will have this type of evidence, but if you can find it, it's a great place to start. You can get the full text of an article by downloading the PDF or clicking on Full Text Available. You can also search for evidence for best practices using a database like CINAHL or PubMed. This strategy is great if you want to see articles from more than one journal, or if you want an interprofessional perspective on a practice. I will use PubMed as my example today, but CINAHL or Medline would also work well. You can get to PubMed by clicking on the PubMed at Belmont link on the OT Research Guide. You can start your search with your population, intervention, or disease condition of interest. So in my example, I will start with Parkinson's disease again. I recommend adding occupational therapy as a second keyword. That way, you won't have to sift through irrelevant articles that have nothing to do with that career. If there is a particular outcome or practice you want to search, you can also add it here. For example, I could search Parkinson's disease and occupational therapy and mobility. You could also choose to use keywords like standards of care or scope of practice to help you find articles that are bringing together that evidence and talking more about best practices. For now, I'm going to stick with just Parkinson's disease and occupational therapy, just so I can see what research is available. Once you've completed an initial search, you can start to filter your results. In PubMed, the filters are on the left-hand side of the search page. One great way to filter is by article type. For example, you can check the boxes for practice guidelines and systematic reviews to only see those types of articles. If you don't see those article types on that left-hand side of the page, click on Additional Filters. You'll be able to add them from there. If an article looks relevant or might have some best practices, click on the title. Full text options will be available on the right-hand side in PubMed. I hope this helps you find evidence that informs best practices. If you have any questions about finding evidence or understanding how evidence informs best practices, please ask.